Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric, and today we got the 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. After we've just had the second cheapest Nissan, the Sentra, obviously the next logical step is to take the second most expensive Nissan, the Armada. Of course, there's still the GTR, so that's more expensive. But yeah, here we are, full-size SUV. We get a 5.6 liter V8 engine in here, driving all four wheels. We got four-wheel drive, and yeah, I would say we take that for a little spin, eh? Just like always, we'll see how fast she goes. I just have a very beautiful 90s NSX behind me that I think they're planning the same thing because they're stopping too. That's hilarious. Let me just pull in. We'll see what the NSX does. There you go. And flyby. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like that. So we're gonna keep it in auto. We're not gonna go into 4 high. We turn on traction control. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And now we're gonna brake, torque, and launcher. Pretty simple, right? 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80, 80. Woohoo! Plenty quick. I'm always like, I've done it in the highway POV and in night POV drive. I was very surprised by how good this Nissan is at holding the revs, because it holds them pretty aggressively at like 2100 and just lets go and accelerates. Like I said, 5.6 liter endurance, a V8 naturally aspirated. We got 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. Healthy numbers, I would say, and as you could imagine, plenty of power for whatever you may be doing. We also can shift manually, so let's do downshift, 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 upshift, upshift, upshift. Reacts pretty quick, quicker than I would have expected. Now, engine really, it's 400 horsepower. You really don't need more, even if you would be towing with 413 pound-feet of torque. You'll definitely have more than plenty of power, and the transmission we have in this Nissan definitely also reacts pretty well. Shifts are smooth. So drivetrain-wise, I really have no complaints. I'll be honest. Drivetrain-wise, I have absolutely zero complaints here with this Armada. But before we start off talking about the suspension, why don't we take a look at the exterior? Okay, let's talk about the design of the 2021 Armada. And I generally like it, but there are some inconsistencies which I'm not the biggest fan of, but we'll get to those. First of all, the front end. I think it looks really nice. Sharp angles, edges, looks good. Especially, I like the color, flakes nicely in the sunshine, and I like these darker, colors on luxury vehicles. Still colorful and red, but a little understated, a bit more luxurious. Good color choice, Nissan. Also, we got the new Nissan logo, which at first I looked at it and was like, that's not the new Nissan logo, but it actually is, because you got the the thinner version, which you see on the website and all the documents you might get from Nissan. You see only the thin version. So this still has the outline, but it's still kind of like, it looks a bit like a combination of the one you see on the website and the old one, but it looks good. This grille has huge openings. I can literally put my whole arm through it. I'm not going to go further because then I'm going to touch the radiator, but looks pretty good. And no front plate, because Nissan doesn't deal with that. And we get manufacturer plates in the back. I like that. Okay, but like I said, front end, I like. Now we go over to the side, and that's where, like I said, the inconsistencies kind of start to show up. First of all, my single least favorite item, or like design choice, is this vent. I know this has been on the previous one, so it just kind of, it's almost a little heritage-ish, but this is all edges and angles. This is very curvy. Like, there's literally no sharp angle in this. Everything, even the inserts here, are rounded out. And this kind of carries on through the whole side profile, where we have a lot of rounded corners suddenly. There's no edges anymore. And while it doesn't necessarily look bad, I just don't think it works, because the front is all edges. Then we have suddenly the side is curvy. That's where the inconsistency, that's what I'm speaking of. Although, side steps, really useful, like them. Chrome side mirror looks good. Of course, it's a huge truck, so 5'7", I've never seen the roof of this thing. Like, I didn't, so whatever. I don't know. It could be yellow for all I know. I don't know. The bird's got to tell me. But oh, also 22-inch wheels. Before I forget, I always love how in trucks, and these trucks, 22-inch wheels don't look huge. I mean, yeah, they're big, but they don't look like disproportionately large. But if I sit next to this, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. They look good. But let's take a look at the back. And over here we can find kind of a weird mix now between the angles and the curvy design, because this all is kind of like this bubbly curvy, right? Followed by angles, followed by curves and angles. So like I said, it's a bit incohesive. Armada is such a cool name. I just want to point that out while we at it. It's a really good name. Yeah, I like it. Also, like I said, manufacturer plates. I always feel cool when I have manufacturer plates on it. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty. I feel cool when I got those. Thanks, Nissan. No, but overall, like once again, the size, I probably vanish in front of it. I can, like, it's still bigger than me in any dimension. But what was I saying? Right. So yeah, it's a bit incohesive. This platinum, this chrome stripe looks pretty good. One thing that I don't like about this Armada, though, let me just open this while we're talking about the exterior. I know we normally don't do this here. Is this load floor is really high, like really high. If I were to carry something heavy or have like a heavy suitcase, I really wouldn't want to lift it this high. It's literally above my hip. It's belly button height almost for me. So I just like imagine taking something off. Yeah, it's a little high. It's a lot. That's the only complaint. We're going to talk about the trunk a little later. So let's just close this up. And also this is very slow. Like very slow. There we go. Post-production note. If you press the button twice, it actually goes way faster. So fast, in fact, it almost smacked me in the face the first time around. But it's nice to know that you can speed it up. But yeah, that's the exterior. Like I said, overall, I still like it. It's just there's some incohesiveness that kind of makes me go, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Hello. Today we will take a look at some of the details of the 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. This house next to me. Let's get started. Now, our first point of interest is the name, Armada. Now, the official definition of an Armada is a fleet of warships. And while I am not an expert on maritime vessels, I am certainly sure that this Nissan Armada is not a warship. That is misleading advertisement. Let's continue. The digital rear view mirror can be accessed by flipping this towards you. Now, do not mind the picture, as the tailgate is open, you will only see the sky. Anyhow, this features multiple settings such as brightness, down and up, left and right. You can even rotate the view. You have an indication, a dimming mirror, and even a language setting. As the kids would like to say, if you want to flex on your friends, just ask them, well, does your mirror have language settings? I don't think so. Now, this already concludes our look at the details of this Armada. Now, why don't we go back to the main review? And back from the exterior, right onto train tracks. Let's talk about suspension. It's a truck, obviously. Well, it's truck based. It's a laddered chassis, right? It's not a unibody, so it rides like a truck. But that is actually not a bad thing because it means it's pretty comfortable. And of course, it kind of heaves around corners, and you notice that there's a lot of weight involved in moving this truck, but it feels really nice. Honestly, the suspension is very compliant. Like a few harsher bumps. You transfer through the body into you, through the seats into you, but it's very minor. Honestly, overall it feels really good, and I've had absolutely, once again, zero complaints in terms of ride quality. I found it to be very comfortable, very easy to drive, and just in general, like I said, really good. Now, one thing I want to test, because we always test it recently, is how fast it takes up the transmission, that is, right? So that's centered at 46, we're just driving, floored. Double downshift, there we go. Took very shortly because it could have kind of skipped the first downshift, right? Because it does another one. But I would still say it's plenty quick, especially for a truck. We don't really need more than that. Really, the major point about this Armada, the most interesting point, and the most, let's say the point we got to talk about the most is the interior. So why don't we just do that and send it over to the interior? All right. First of all, easy to get in thanks to the step and the handle up here. But do you remember when we were talking about the exterior, I talked about it being kind of incohesive. That's kind of a theme, apparently. Not that design-wise, this interior is incohesive. Design-wise, this is actually a pretty nice interior, especially if you look at like the seats, quilted leather seats. We got this beautiful dark brown, almost black wood. Looks really nice, especially I love this Armada that's above the wood. So the interior styling in general and the materials, everything is really good, and I absolutely enjoy it. And then you got the tech, which is just horrendous. I'm sorry. Like, the tech is just bad. First of all, look at this steering wheel. What are those buttons? Just like straight up ripped out of other Nissans. Just like the switchgear on the side. This is just cheap plastic switchgear. Is it functional? Of course, yes, it is. But this steering wheel is just overwhelming. The layout is hard to understand, hard to grasp. Like pretty much every car is kind of the same layout in terms of buttons on the steering wheel. Some on your right, some on your left. Perfect. This one is suddenly down, and they look completely different than the rest of the interior because of this super cheap plastic, and it just doesn't look good. And then we got this wood here, and then we have the memory seat buttons just stick out of the wood, and it's once again this super cheap plastic. So that's a bit of a shame because the materials and the design, like I said, is really nice in this interior. It's just the tech is just such a letdown. The gauge cluster is alright. The screen in the middle does its job at giving you information. This screen, on the other hand, is once again, that's a really good screen. Like when we tested the Infinities, right, they're a couple years old. They had this dual infotainment screen. The screens looked bad. It was just bad all across the board. This is a really nice screen. Bit of a problem is the angle, because if you have your sunroof here that we have, if you have it opened, then occasionally the sun will just reflect right off there and you won't be able to see anything. But the screen itself, great contrast, great colors, looks good. But the UI that Nissan uses just doesn't look good, and you see that it's also not made for this size of a screen, because you got this split screen, which is to an extent functional. Yes, it's nice to have, but especially in the menu, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. Now, this doesn't kill the interior. It's just a bit of an unfortunate letdown because everything else about this interior is so nice. It's not like it's a disappointment across the board and I'm like, oh, this is a terrible interior. No, the reason why I'm complaining so much about the tech and the switchgear is because everything else is so nice. Like I said, look at this quilted leather. These are heated and cooled seats, super comfortable. Like I said, memory seats. We got a digital rearview mirror, which is great. Has a super high resolution. You see everything in there. Wide field of view. It's great. Then we get the rear, like the reverse camera. Once again, terrible quality. It's just like this incohesiveness. This camera up here, a rear view camera, a mirror camera, so crisp, so crisp. And then you got the reverse camera, which is just like YouTube 240p. It's terrible. It is so weird. It is so weird, and it's such a shame because I really like this interior. I would like, if the tech would be better, this would be amazing. Good connectivity, plenty of storage in here. We got our cup holders right there, which actually have lights in there. We have a 4 high, 4 low tow mode, snow and traction control switch. We got USB-C, full on USB trailer brakes. We got great implementation of our wireless charger because, first of all, it's big enough. We got about another finger left on my S21 Plus, so you should fit your Pro Max 12 extra large stuff in there, whatever you buy, and the S21 Ultra, whatever it's called. These names get so confusing nowadays. I'm way too old to be confused by technology names, but here I am. But no, I like that this closes because it disincentivizes, you know what I mean? Grabbing your phone, texting, driving. I love it when you charge it and it's just gone. Because if you want to get to it, you have to open it, you have to grab it, then you text and drive. You really don't do that. Only problem is, it's not really a problem. I wish they would have one of those connectors here for the cigarette lighter maybe down there, but that's just me because I have a dash cam that's cigarette lighter. If I would have like one with a USB, easy connect down here, I could put this down all the time. Eventually I'll upgrade. So that's not really a complaint, it's just, you know, it's a tiny extra point. Yeah, but feel the R on the front, great materials, great design, let down by subpar electronics. But let's take a look at the second row, and then we have the third row obviously in this Armada. So let's look at that. And once again, super easy to get in. And doesn't this look nice? Like, be honest, especially like I opened the door, put the camera, and I was just like, one thing, I was like, oh, this looks nice. This looks nice. And it feels nice. It's very comfortable. The sunroof, of course, would be nicer if we had like a bigger one here, like in many other SUVs. Not a game breaker though. We got heated seats. Once again, these super cheap, weird old switches that I think I had them in the Sentra too, and I talked about how they look like there's this could be like a 2000s Buick. I find these switches. It's functional though. But no, super comfortable. Look at the leg room. I mean, it's a full-size SUV, so we have tons of room. It is so nice, so comfortable. The stereo, by the way, really good. Really enjoyed listening to music in this Armada here, and it's just plush. Like, just yes. We got our infotainment, on the entertainment system here. HDMI, USB. We got SD card, and we even have a microphone. We have a headphone jack, so you can listen to music or look at movies while driving here in the back seat. So you will be so comfortable. This is the optional captain's chairs configuration. They're not really classical captain's chairs, as in we have like armrests. So we have this center console. You can have a bench if you want to have 8 people capacity. Like this, we can have 7 people seated in this Armada. But then we have another center console in here. We have our cup holders right here. If we want to access the front center console, we can do so. It just pops up in the other direction. We can go in there through a hole. We have more storage. Where is it? Here, down here, which is really deep actually. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. It's a bit of a weird position because it probably, actually no, it's flat. I thought it would fall down, but no, it's fine. More storage here. Honestly, this is second row. It's probably where it's at. We got our air curtains here, so you can just put the air down here, and it's really nice. It's really nice in the second row. But let's get into the third row. For that, simply hold this, just press this button, automatically pops up, and now we have super easy access to the second row. All right, back here, let's give you a view though. Let's just pop this up again. Super easy. So first of all, of course, this way we have a lot of room. Also, let's pop up our headrest right here. So this way, of course, we have a lot of room. Let's just put down the seat, which is so easy. Like, manipulating the seats is so easy from this third row. If I don't slip, it's easy, trust me. It's just I slipped out of the hole. And room is decent. Like, the bigger issue is just here starts the wheel well. So my left foot is kind of a little elevated compared to my right one. Room is not perfect because we can slide these seats forward. But we'll be able to slide them forward a little, like in the Telluride. We would have a bit more space. But honestly, it's probably, let me just buckle up and get the full experience. There we go. It's doable, like especially if I don't have a third person sitting here, you know, one, I can just shift my legs a little over to the right, and I won't have to deal with the wheel well. So this will be doable for a while. Of course, we can also recline more if we want. Of course, that interferes with the room. The setup I have basically was for kind of a good amount of storage room. Now we have a bit more, although this is kind of not really comfortable because the bottom doesn't move that much. Okay, this is actually kind of worse because this is just a weird angle, right? Especially my hip is kind of uncomfortable because I'm just getting pushed out, and I feel like I don't fit in the seat. Really nice though is here, this big window. A lot of third rows kind of feel a little cramped. This one does not feel cramped at all because I have this huge window. I can look out and I have a good view in the front. So this is fine. I wouldn't say more than fine. Great for kids. Kids won't have an issue here. Adults, other trucks, another full-size SUVs probably will give you a bit of an easier time with that. But overall, no, honestly pretty good. Like I said, 2 cup holders in here. A lot of plastic, but that's fine. It's just third row. That's totally fine. I do want to take a quick look at the trunk, and then we are, no, actually, I'm just going to do this with a video overview, and then we're going back. All right. A little mid video sent just to hear that V8, which funnily enough, like on the outside, you don't really hear the V8. Like during idle, it doesn't really burble much, and you asked me on Instagram to do like the Q&A I always do. Is you asked me for the sound clip, so I made a little revving clip part, and even then, it didn't really sound much like a V8 at once. But when you're driving here from the driver's perspective, you really hear that it's a V8, and it's a beautiful noise. I love V8s. Most of you love V8s probably. They're just amazing. One more thing we got to talk about, though. One more thing we always talk about, and that is the technology, and more like the assist systems we have in here. The headlight, the automatic high beams, we tested those in night POV. As always, night POV, I think, is top right-hand corner. Really good. They work really well. We have an adaptive cruise control, which is nice to have, especially, like I said, I kind of expect this in most vehicles nowadays, but there's still quite a few vehicles which don't have it standard at all. So it's nice that this Armada here includes the adaptive cruise control. We do have a lane keep assist and lane departure assist that kind of just steers you back in your lane, which is fine. I mean, it's just nothing to write home about. It works, but it's just like it exists. So yeah, there's not much to say. Let's just why don't we sum it all up and see if I think the price that this Armada Nissan wants for this Armada is worth it. In the final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. I enjoyed my time with the Armada, and I think if you don't know about the Armada really, or you just know Nissan from like the Sentra and the Altima and maybe the Rogue, you were probably pretty surprised when you looked at the interior of the Armada, because without a doubt, that's a proper luxury interior. We got the quilted leather seats, we got the wood. It just looks really nice, and it feels really, really nice. Of course, the drawback though is the technology. It's just outdated in most places. It doesn't look good in the other places, and very, very, very few places it actually looks good, like the rear view mirror, which is really, really good. It's just this weird mix of good and bad, and it's kind of weird. But we've talked about that. Other high points though for this Armada is the V8, like the 5.6 liter V8. First of all, plenty of power, and on the other hand, it's a V8, so the power delivery is super smooth. It is so easy to drive. The suspension rides well. It is nice and comfortable and quiet inside the cabin. Now, this particular V8 though, it's pretty bad on gas. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. I've already shown it to you, right? But I was averaging almost 20 liters, 100 kilometers. And that's 91, right? It doesn't take 87, it takes 91, so you already pay a premium there. And to be fair, these 20 liters, right? I've driven it for like, I think I'm at, when I calculated that, I was at 315 kilometers. I don't get to drive much right now. 315 kilometers, and that includes, I think, 3 or 4 launches. That includes, occasionally, going for a little bit of acceleration, but I drive pretty conservatively overall. But it includes about 3 or 4 hours of idling. Let's say 3 hours of idling, just like it's idling right now. We're doing the filming, it always idles, right? So mostly because lights and all that needs to look good. So that skews the numbers a little bit. So when you're driving it, and also a lot of city, right? When you're driving it, you will definitely reach lower numbers. But even the Silverado 6.2 liter V8 reached 16 liters with the same kind of usage. Let's say 17 for maybe a few difference here and there. So this V8, you're gonna pay for that. You're gonna pay for that. But it's a trade-off you might have to make. Now, is this Armada worth almost $80,000? I'm just gonna postpone that. I'm gonna postpone that judgment until next week when we have the Chevy Tahoe, because like I said, this Hilo is pretty loud, but they're rescuing people, so that's fine. So good on you guys. Shout out first responders. No, but Tahoe is almost the same size. It's a little bigger. It's a little more expensive, but they generally compete really well. And I have kind of an idea, I think, how this is going to play out. but I don't want to say it before I've had time in the Tahoe. So if you're interested in the Armada, I highly suggest you checking out next week's review of the Chevrolet Tahoe, where I'm going to go on a full-on comparison and tell you if this is worth the money or should maybe go with the competition. Other than that, I hope you really liked and enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please make sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos. And if you like the video, you tell YouTube that you liked it and it gets recommended to more people. And if more people find my video, I get more views. And if I get more views, I get more cars. And in turn, you get more content. So it's a win-win. So if you liked it, I would greatly appreciate it if you could support me that way. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope I will see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.